welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I know that there might be some pressure on some of you lately to make some big decisions. So some of you might have to choose your subjects at school, and some of you might be applying to universities and have to think, what am I going to study? Some of you might know exactly what you want to do, and for those of you, you can turn off this video, you don't need this video. So this video is for those of you who are confused. Maybe you don't know what to do. Maybe you don't know what you want to do after uni or what you even want to do after school. Sometimes there can be like a lot of pressure on you from your parents or from your friends or from your teachers, like that you need to make the right decision for your future. So, how do you go about making a decision? Let me tell you a story about me. When I started university at the Uni of Glasgow, I had to choose 3 subjects in my first year. I knew I wanted to study psychology, so that was a given. And then I told myself, okay, I'll take biology and chemistry. Now, when I started uni, I was like, oh, there's a whole different level, and I don't think I'm that into biology and chemistry, like not enough that I want to stay home and study it like hardcore every day. I decided to change my subjects. So then I took, what did I think I'm trying to remember. I know that at one point I like substituted biology for earth science or something. At that time I was like super interested in a lot of different things, and I was just like, oh yeah, I could study earth science, like of course, like whatever, like. And I went to a class, I remember it was like a 3-hour lab session, and we were sitting there talking about rocks. I have a friend who was in that class who's now in Australia, and he's a geologist, and I think his sister is too, and they just super love it. So I'm not saying that like rocks are boring for everybody, but it just wasn't for me. I was sitting in that lab and I was thinking, oh my god, I am not studying rocks for the next 4 years. There's no way in hell. So I went back to my, what do you call them, like advisor's office, and I was like, I want to change my subjects again. And I think at one point I took world religions, and then at another point, I think maybe I took political science. I can't remember. Anyway, I ended up with philosophy, social studies and psychology. I loved psychology and I loved philosophy and social studies, but anyway, my point is, you don't need to know from now what you're gonna become in the future. Now, some people might be thinking, oh, I really need to make sure I study languages because I want to be a lawyer. Like, why? Okay, when I was 16, like I knew I loved psychology, but I didn't know what kind of psychologist I wanted to become. I had no idea that I would go into Gestalt psychotherapy. The lighting is really weird in here. Maybe I should change the direction to this. Let's see. Is that better? Okay, let's try it like this. I had no idea that I would end up going into Gestalt psychotherapy. I didn't even know about it when I was 16. At a point, I thought I would work with people who have eating disorders, and then at another point I was very into like working in a school, which I did. I got a job in a school. Sometimes you're absolutely sure, like this is what I want to do, and then you're in it and you like get a fright. In fact, in my very first YouTube video, the quality is awful, but it's a good conversation. I spoke to my friend Jan, and Jan always wanted to be a doctor. She became a doctor, and then she found that she just hated it. She did not want to be a doctor at all. She wanted to help people heal, but Western medicine was just not the route that she wanted to take to do this. So how should you choose your subjects? A question that I want you to ask yourself is, what am I super interested in? What makes me tick? Like when you go on YouTube, what do you research? Do you look up cars? Do you look up makeup tutorials? Do you look at fashion stuff? What do you naturally get excited about? Now, even at school, what subjects are you just naturally drawn to? Is it English literature? Is it maths? Is it physics? And what do you dread? Is it chemistry? Is it Maltese? Is it, I don't know, anything? Ask yourself these questions, because that's gonna tell you like what your natural talent and inclination is towards. There's no point in making yourself study something that you are not interested in. There's no point in becoming an architect if you hate studying maths and physics. There's just no point. Listen to your internal interests and do this like casually. Like, what do you like to do in your free time? Because you know what? Work should feel like play. For me, it was obvious to study psychology because I love to study people. I love to look at interactions and see where people get like mixed up and confused and retreat and run away and like I like to, you know, I just love dynamics, human relationship dynamics. So for me, it was just a given, like, yeah, psychology, philosophy. I like to study biology sometimes and nutrition because I'm super into health. So I just kind of naturally go towards that stuff. You need to listen to your natural drives. Like, don't think about money right now. Money will come. Money comes if you provide value to people. You provide value to people by doing what you're good at and by doing it with passion. So don't worry about making money right now. Just think, what am I interested in? What do I like spending time on? I want to do more of that. Besides, keep in mind that by the time you actually get into the workforce, you've got a lot of time left. And when I was at school, no one ever told me, oh, you know what? YouTube's gonna be really big then. You should study how to edit videos. No, I had no clue how to edit videos until I started making YouTube videos, and you'll notice I make mistakes. It's fine, like, you know, I'm learning along the way. It doesn't need to be perfect. I just need to be enjoying it and creating and putting myself out there, because that's what a fulfilling life is about. It's, you know, if it's fulfilling for me, great, I'm gonna do it. But my point is, you're never like fully formed. You always have time to create yourself further, to push yourself further. So if when you're 35, you don't feel fulfilled in what you're doing, don't panic. You can always learn a new skill, or you can always like leave the job you're at, or, you know, start something new. It's not always super easy, like sometimes we have financial commitments or whatever, but it's never impossible. There are always ways. So the most important thing is that you do stuff that you like and that you keep thinking creatively, because that's the most important thing, that you can look at the positive, that, you know, whenever you're met with an obstacle, you just say, okay, it's an obstacle. That doesn't mean that I can't get past it. It just means that I need to find a way through it or around it and see what I can learn from it. That's what life is about. So long as you have a growth mindset and you are ready to learn new skills and try new things, you will be absolutely fine. Just trust life and do what you enjoy, and don't listen to anybody who tells you that you should become something, because you need to make sure that you earn a living. You will earn a living if you provide value, and you will provide value if you do what you love. Ciao.